want me to get the bagpipers in my angle? Just asking you a question.
Good evening. My name is Zechariah Haraji, and I'm the secretary of the class of 2024. Welcome to our graduation ceremony, our last event as students at Dracut High School. It is my honor to present to you my classmates, the Dracut High School class of 2024. At this time, please join me as we recognize and thank our Dracut teachers and administrators, whose guidance and knowledge brought us to this day. On behalf of my classmates, thank you, Dracut teachers. At this time, please join our class treasurer, Catherine Martell, in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I don't want them to forget.
Should I say anything or just start?
Just wait till they get to their seats.
And then just start it? Just start it, don't say anything.
You don't have to say anything because you've already been introduced.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of those who are no longer with us. Thank you.
Welcome, graduates and parents, guests. Students, please be seated. We have finally arrived at Commencement 2024. Following our national anthem, it is fitting that we recognize the members of the class of 2024 who will serve the nation in the armed forces. Will Robert Michaud, Joshua Oakes, Aiden Thompson, Madison Viviani, and Anthony D'Agostino please stand and be recognized by the people of the United States. Those graduates join a long list of Dracut High School graduates who have served our country. Members of the Dracut School Committee, Superintendent Stone, fellow principals, faculty, parents, guests, and most importantly, graduates. Welcome to your commencement. In a few minutes, you will change from being students, a status you have enjoyed for 13 years, to alumni of Dracut High School. Did you ever believe this day would come? Didn't it seem like you would be in school forever? And just like that, here you are. The one question that I can ask that really applies to all of you is, did you make good use of your time at Dracut High School? I hope so, because you don't get that time back. Time is the one resource you never get back. None of us ever do. The good news to all of you is that you have so much ahead of you. Time to live in your present and time to plan for your future. But now, even at your young age, you begin to realize that time is fleeting. After all, wasn't it only yesterday that you were nervous, freshmen coming to orientation, all worried about entering high school? Each of you will leave tonight with an equal measure of time. And that leads to the second question. What are you going to do with it? Some things in life can be done at any time. Starting a new hobby, for example. It doesn't really matter when you start to learn to paint, fish, birdwatch, whatever you enjoy. You can do that at any time. 30s, 40s, 50s, it's not important. But there is an important aspect of your life which is critical, and that is investing in yourself. And I don't mean that figuratively, I mean that literally. And that brings me back to time. Starting from this moment, when you cross the USS Mitty as a high school graduate, you'll either make good use of your time or you shall squander it. Some of you will make good use and others of you won't. But as of tonight, the playing field is level and the final score will be recorded in decades hence. To achieve that final score, if I'm being a little bit obtuse in what I'm talking about, all you have to do is take $5 a week and invest it. The $5 cost of a frozen drink that you all bring to school every morning when you arrive tardy to school. And we're going to work on that next year with the next class. So that small dollar amount is important because it's the habit that you want to invest in more than the amount. Too big of an amount will likely not be held. Life's bills will interrupt that investing. So $5, no matter what happens, you'll be able to do that. And the amount will take care of itself. You will arrive at a point where you will be very, very happy that you took this advice and did something with it. I don't know any of you who will. Hopefully some of you will. But to encourage you, I'm going to enlist your grandparents because they have the best perspective on time. I want you, for those of you who are going to be meeting with your parents either tonight or soon, ask them about their perspective of time. Ask them how fleeting it is. Ask them if it is something that you should start now. They won't steer you wrong. They'll put you in the right, and I think that they will validate this short little bit of wisdom as I send you off. Now, there's just one more thing that I'm going to leave you with. Teachers will recognize this. We educators sometimes use what's called manipulatives to reinforce the objective of a lesson. These are objects, these are things, these are articles that students then take into their possession and they learn whatever the teacher is trying to instill. So instead of spending the money on a fruity frozen drink 10 graduates will be able to use the gift cards that are taped underneath your chairs, and you'll be able to buy your own frozen fruity drink, and you're gonna take that $10 and you're gonna invest it. So whoever got they're randomly applied, check your seat. Maybe you got lucky tonight. If not, if you did, you're on your way. And if you didn't, you're on your way. Congratulations, everybody. Now I'd like to introduce our class president, Nyla Perez.
Good evening, everyone. And sorry if I sound nervous, it is my first time graduating, so cut me some slack. The day is now June 7th. That is the day that we will graduate and become free adults. High school truly did go by fast, and we filled it with so many memories. Because I can't stop time, I'd like to use this couple of minutes that I have to reflect on our journey together as a class. It was our freshman year, and we haven't seen each other in about 5 months. Now, it's nearly impossible to go through this speech without mentioning COVID-19, because it truly did affect our lives more than we thought. We were separated into cohorts, and you either had to sit 6 feet apart from the other classmates at all times, or had to log into Zoom, making sure that your forehead was showing so that the teacher knew that you were present. There were the one-way hallways, the terrible-smelling wipes to clean off our desks, and we can't forget about the wellness walks. Because of the pandemic, there were other students that we couldn't even meet because they were in the other cohort, or people we couldn't recognize because nearly half their face was covered. Even during a time filled with grief, struggle, and missed opportunities, we still persevered. We all have one thing in common, and it's the fact that we had to navigate our way through high school with such a rocky start. You should all be proud of yourselves for not only getting through that chapter of your life as a student, but as a person. This part also goes out for the teachers that had to put in the extra effort to educate us during the pandemic. You should be proud of yourselves as well. Before we continue, let's give a big round of applause to everyone, because you all deserve to be appreciated for your work during that time. We now move on to sophomore year, where we reunite with one another and meet new people. As some regulations were being lifted, we got to learn how it was to actually be a high school student. It still wasn't anything like the movies, but it was still an improvement from before. Next up was junior year. Life was pretty much back to normal, and it was truly a relief. However, school reminded us that this was the year that we really had to lock in. Our grades mattered a lot more, the courses we took mattered a lot more, and our decision for what we wanted to do in the future mattered the most. I know that teachers, counselors, and definitely family members were probably expecting you to have an answer, or at least an idea of what you wanted to do after high school. If you were like me, you felt like this pressure was too much for a 16 or 17-year-old. I knew what I wanted to do for years, but had no idea where I wanted to go. I thought, hey, it's still junior year, I still have time to figure out my life. I definitely shouldn't listen to the upperclassmen who all warned me how everything moves so fast. And if you're an underclassman listening to me, please believe me when I say that time truly does move fast. We're finally in our senior year. As the days quickly flash by, one by one, we all approach adulthood. We're all stressed, but we're eager and excited to get to the end. Though we could see the end of high school approaching, for some reason, some of us were still nervous or even hesitant. It's like seeing the finish line, but instead of a clear path ahead, it's just a bunch of closed doors. You want to get to it, but you're scared because you don't really know what's behind those closed doors, and you're scared of making a mistake by choosing the wrong one. Raise your hand if this was you, scared of what's to come. Now look around and realize that you were never alone. For years, we've all been on different paths, but we were all going to the same finish line. Just like you all, I was so incredibly anxious about the unknown future. I was typically the person who had their life together and knew what they were doing, but once senior came, I basically lost that ability. Though I knew I had some control of the future, I still felt so small in that I didn't know what I was doing. And here's the thing, I really did not know what I was doing. And I bet a lot of you felt the way too, which probably led to frustration and discouragement from moving forward. A quote from one of my favorite movies that honestly helped me with this feeling was that this isn't the time to make hard and fast decisions. This is the time to make your mistakes. Change your mind and change it again, because nothing is permanent. To me, this means that you need to understand that it's okay to not immediately know what you're doing. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this very long 3-page speech, it's that it's okay to make mistakes, because a mistake is not the end. It's okay to take that leap of faith, and it's okay to change your mind. Now, I expect everyone to participate in this one, but raise your hand if when you look into the future, you see a better version of yourself. You don't know every step you're going to take, or every decision you're going to have to make in order to get there, but what you do know is that you're going to accept the mistakes that you make, because it's all part of the learning process. So with that being said, try a different hobby, join a club, change your major, fall in love, find a different job, and change your mind. Please don't be scared to cross that finish line, because behind those doors is a journey that was made for you to accomplish, and I know that you can all do it. Before we end, I'd like to emphasize how proud I am of all of you, because you are already one step closer to that new version of yourself. And looking at all your faces, I can tell you're excited and ready to get there. All in all, I wish you all good luck. And guess what? I still have more, so hold on. All right, to finish this off, I have a couple of things. I'd like to thank my mom over there, because I wouldn't have gotten this far without her, literally and metaphorically. Thank you to my friends for making my time in school worthwhile, especially the ones I made in my extracurriculars, because there's no one else I'd rather spend 12 hours in the school with. Yes, I spent over 12 hours in the school. Yep, Thank you to Ms. Tangway for not only being our class advisor, but also being such a caring and selfless being for these students. Sure. Thank you to the rest of the class board for planning these events and fundraisers. And especially thank you to the class reps, Iana, Sam, Morgan, and Maggie, because y'all do not get enough credit for all the work you put in for this class. I'd also like to thank all of the hardworking faculty at Dracut High that contributed to our success as students, one of them being Mr. Bolduck. Thank you for making the Learning Commons such a safe place for my friends and I, and thank you for all that you do for the students and the school. Yup, there it is. Finally, thank you to the friends and family who traveled to be here for their graduate, because I promise you that your presence added value to this very special day. To the class of 2024, it's been an honor to be your president, and I hope this speech inspired you and made you realize that everything will be okay and that mistakes are not the end. And like my mom always says, and I know she's gonna cry at this one, aspire to inspire. Thank you. Sorry guys, I forgot that there's more. At this time, it is my honor to introduce our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Stephen Stone.
Good evening. I'd like to extend a welcome to all of the parents and other family members here this evening, as well as members of the school committee and the educators and administrators here helping us celebrate the graduation of the class of 2024. I'd also like to recognize our school resource officer, Officer Kottner, who is here, who provides support every day. I'm proud to say that our partnership with the Dracut Police is strong and unwavering. I'd like to thank our supervisor of buildings and grounds, our maintenance workers, custodians, and administrative assistants supporting this event for their tireless efforts in ensuring that tonight's celebration is memorable. All of those efforts are emblematic of what occurs every day by the more than 500 employees of the Dracut Public Schools. Our administrators, teachers, paraprofessionals, administrative assistants, food service workers, custodians, and maintenance workers all ensure that our students are well cared for. I thank you all for the team effort ensuring that our community is supportive and welcoming. As I've done for the last number of years, I'd like to recognize a few people who are here this evening who will be retiring soon. One of those actually retired a couple of months ago and decided that she needed to come back and celebrate with the class of 2024. I'd ask Carol Whiting to stand and be recognized. Carol has served the district for 26 years as a physical education teacher and coach, and she will be missed. Also here this evening is Francis Viennes, the estimable art teacher at Dracut High School. Mr. Viennes will be retiring at the end of the year with 24 years of service to the Dracut Public Schools. And on the way in, I shook hands with Mike Andrews, our head maintenance worker, who is retiring this year after 33 years of service to the Dracut Public Schools. I thank all of you and wish you well. I recently read an article in the Wall Street Journal that described a very clear drop in college attendance by recent high school graduates. Those of us who have dedicated our professional lives to the education of children will know that a tremendous amount of effort has been underway for a couple of decades to encourage, support, and cajole girls to attend college, particularly in the sciences. And that effort has been very successful. A byproduct of that effort, however, is now playing out across the country. Attendance in college and universities for boys continues to drop. While the percentage of girls attending college has risen to about 66% nationwide, the percentage of boys attending college has dropped to about 56%. There are many reasons for these numbers: perceptions, economic circumstances, alternative opportunities to take up a trade or skill, and more. I am proud of the fact that the percentage of Dracut High School graduates that attend college continues the trend of increasing. The fact is that how much money you'll earn over your lifetime is generally connected to the level of education you attain. For example, high school graduates in the U.S. can expect to earn about $1.6 million over their lifetime. Those with an associate's degree, $2 million. A bachelor's degree, $2.8 million. A master's degree, $3.2 million. And those with advanced degrees beyond a master's level will likely break the $4 million threshold over the course of their lifetime. With all of that said, some of you will be successful without following a traditional college track. You'll work hard and become skillful and successful in a trade. You'll start a small business, or you'll join our military and defend this great country. Do what you do as successfully as possible and strive to do something that makes you happy. To my colleagues, while we continue to urge girls to attend college and follow their dreams, let's redouble our effort with boys as well. Ladies, keep it up. Gentlemen, don't turn your back on any options for bettering your life. Importantly, don't assume that the decisions that you make are irreversible. You may end up in a very different place from where you started. When I graduated from high school, my original plan was to become a police officer, so I went to college to study criminal justice. I found the topic interesting, but it just wasn't my thing after a while. A couple of years later, I was driving tractor-trailer. I loved driving a truck. But then later I realized, I had one of those moments and realized that life was changing and I needed to change it. I remember it clearly. It was a hot Friday afternoon in August and I was sitting in my truck on the old elevated Southeast Expressway. For those of a certain age, you will remember that the highway through Boston used to be above ground, not below ground, in pre-Big Dig era, but I digress. It occurred to me that I wanted more, something different. I decided that day that I wanted to become a teacher, and so I did it. And some years later, I decided that I wanted to be in a position to affect change on a larger scale and completed advanced degrees so that I become a principal and then ultimately a superintendent, where I could spend my days and nights getting blamed for things like not canceling school when there was not even a possibility of snow in the air because the seniors wanted to sleep in. I chose a path that provides me with fulfillment and satisfaction that the work I do contributes to the betterment of our society. I didn't listen to doubters. I put my head down and I did what I needed to do to attain my goals and support my family. To the graduates, the young men and women who will soon receive their diplomas, a few short minutes away, follow your passion. Don't settle until you are indeed satisfied. Be ready for that moment when you decide that you want something more and then go for it. It may be about making more money. It may be about doing something that makes a tangible difference. For me, the path required earning college degrees. For you, it may be a truck or heavy equipment license. It may be the purchase of a franchise or the start of a small business. The what doesn't matter, as long as you pursue your success and happiness. As long as you're willing to work hard, you can attain your goals, regardless of how many challenges and changes in direction it takes. Just be the best at whatever you find yourself doing 20 years from now. And whatever the decision, practice the wisdom of an ancient Roman proverb. Fortune favors the bold. And no, John Wick did not come up with that. I congratulate you all and wish you well. And remember, once a MIDI, always a MIDI.
At this time, I am pleased to welcome to the podium our class salutatorian, Lida Pui Tayafan.
Good evening and Jumriapsua to my class of 2024, the faculty and staff, as well as all the friends and family who took their time to arrive here today. Whether it was a 5-minute drive or if you spent hours on a plane, thank you for being here today to celebrate my fellow graduates and support them on today's special moment. Standing here in front of you is a great honor. However, I'd like to offer my condolences ahead of time from my classmates and teachers who had to decipher my handwriting and comprehend my mumbling, which is why I have a conveniently typed out speech and microphone in front of me. When I first moved here my freshman year, I felt very isolated. It was strange because being separated from my parents over a phone screen, as I chose to live with my cousin and her family. I didn't know anyone in the small town where everybody seemed to know each other for years on years. It was another game to play catch up on during the pandemic. At the time, I was so uncertain if I'd ever make a friend. I remember freshman me writing a letter in Mr. Shepard's class to the future graduated me. I wanted to ask her how many friends I'd made, and I hope I'd at least gotten 3 or 4. What I didn't expect was being adopted into my friend group in my sophomore year and never having to worry about being alone ever again. Looking back, it's a bit sad to imagine I'd felt that way, but in all fairness, if you had to sit in the dead silence of a classroom for hours at a time with hybrid cohorts and being 6 feet apart, you'd understand. On the bright side, it allowed me to realize that good friends are rare to find and how incredibly lucky I am to have found and continue discovering so many treasured people in my life. To have met the people I have, even if I had not gotten the chance to know you personally or not, after spending all these years together, I know that anyone who puts a smile on my face will always have a special place in my memory. I am also so fortunate to have the opportunities to learn as I did, a blessing not many people get the privilege to experience all around the world, nor did earlier generations of my family, which is why I'd like to thank them for supporting me in their big and small ways, to my mother and father's resilience when they first moved to the United States, for every day they've been fighting to give me a better life, to my cousin and her husband who graciously offered to let me live with them and make a home out of this small town. It is only human nature to take some things given to us for granted, which is why I constantly remind myself to be grateful for my family, for Mr. and Mrs. Panetta, who treated me like family and always gave me rides when I didn't have one, for all of my teachers, to the ones in Virginia who have been there from the start but sadly cannot be here today, as well as the one here at Dracut High, and finally, for every impactful person I come across that has taught me something. I'd like to end my speech with a final and parting quote from Niki Lauda. I've been through a lot, and I realize the future can't be controlled. I'm not worried. You can always learn to overcome difficulties. Everyone has their own complicated life, and graduating high school can mean the ending of some very highs and lows for a lot of our class. I have faith that everyone has the perseverance to continue making their future a brighter one, no matter the obstacles. EXO Class of 2024, and Jumriapsua everyone.
At this time, it is my honor to introduce the class valedictorian, Anthony D'Agostino.
Hello and welcome, Superintendent Stone, Principal Manley, Vice Principals Lyson and Carney, other esteemed members of the Dracut High School staff, families, friends, and fellow graduates. Thank you all for being here today at our graduation ceremony. Today is a big day for us all in the class of 2024. As it turns out, it's also a big day for my dad. When he got here, he asked if it took me a long time to park everyone's car, which explains why he's been pronouncing it Valedictorian this whole time. Learn something new every day, right, Dad? Speaking of helping others, I wanted to talk today about service. As many of you know, I am starting my career at the Naval Academy and planning to serve our country, but service comes in many forms. When we think about careers pertaining to service, we often think of firefighters, police officers, first responders, medical professionals, and military. We should also realize that there are many other career paths that better their community with service. These include teachers, social workers, counselors, and various others. A great thing about service is that it does not need to be a full-time career to contribute something. It can be as simple as helping your friends with their math homework every single night for 4 years of your life.
Kidding aside, volunteer work at homeless facilities, food pantries, and animal shelters are all great ways to spend your time giving back to your community. The way I see it, there are 3 pillars of community service. The first is that it empowers people and the community that are being served. Homeless shelters and food pantries can provide less fortunate people with basic necessities like water, food, clothing, and a roof over their heads to help them get back on their feet. These facilities can sometimes provide job training, which can allow people to begin looking for their jobs and become more self-independent. If a homeless person can develop their skills and eventually start their own life, they will develop a strong sense of self-esteem. And this benefits everyone in the community because it increases the amount of good in the population. The second big idea is that working in community service helps you realize the value of it. For example, animals bring joy to many homes across the world. By volunteering at an animal shelter, you can help bring a pet to a new family. Or you could also develop a connection with an animal that you would never had otherwise. Spending time doing these things help you understand why it is important that these opportunities exist. My third and final thought is that service keeps you grounded in your life and the things that you have. Some people volunteer building houses with charitable organizations for people who do not have one. When participating in these builds, it is easy to see how fortunate you are waking up with a roof over your head every day. Sharing your time, let others experience this dream. I realize that many of us have gone through the past 4 years looking at community service as an assignment that you turn in for credit. Now, as we go out into the world, the responsibility is on us to make our communities better places. We are not going to receive anything tangible from doing community service, but the overall benefit to society is immeasurable. I say all of this just to say that you have the freedom to choose to serve in some way, but the people who benefit from it actually need these services to improve their quality of life. Consider that as we all head out into the world to carve our unique paths. Thank you all very much for your time.
This is it. I will now call upon the Dracut School Committee to award diplomas to the class of 2024. Marshals, please begin the rolls.
Ready?
Anthony James D'Agostino. Lita Puwitafayan. Nyla Gianni Perez. Zechariah Bu Haraji. Catherine Teresa Martel. Regina Louise Abelard. Abdurrahman Allah Abu Mahmood. Joshua Martin Abreu. Erico Val Abuyog. Haley Jane Adams Guthrow. Janice Faujois Ajaman. Tiba Elkule Fawad. Lamiz Al-Assad. Chase Elliott Allen. Andrew Thomas Annunziata. Emily Jean Arnold. Kevin Apoku Asante. Cameron Perry Bailey. Chloe Rose Beauchesne. Lily Danielle Blades. Taylor Morgan Blanchette. Mackenzie Ann Gladys. Benjamin Awusu Boateng. Sachita Kathriana Bori. Sean Michael Eugene Bozia. Sam Michael Botsis. Andre James Borez. Gracie Ann Bourget. Josiah Nathan Bowler. Kayla Elizabeth Breen. Tyler David Broder. Haley Michelle Carta. James Patrick Cataldo. Kaylin Joy Shampoo. Cassidy Sheila Chartier. Evan Shandara Chem. Jack Edward Clooney. Gabrielle Claire Coffey. Kendra Renee O'Brien. Michael Shane Cogan. Jordan Margaret Coleman. Clayty Crystal Contreras. Kiara Elise Cook. Daniel Ralph Coppa III. Nicholas Ryan Kroll. Joao Pedro Chavez Moreira da Silva. Salvatore John D'Amico. Connor Allen Daniel. Riley Patrick Davis. Maria Eduarda de Souza Victor. Michael Joseph Damaris. Caitlin Tanyi Doe. Lorenzo Demiciano. Connor Philip Donnelly. Jenna Kathleen Dowling. Caitlin McKenna Doobie. Millery Soon Ike. Jeremy Gabriel Fabre. Riley Elizabeth Fahey. Manuel John Farley. Noella Ankinibam Fawn. Raquel Franco. Iana Fonseca Galdino. Casey Denise Garcia Sola. Gavin Michael Gaudet. Chelsea Marie Gentili. Madeline Danielle Jeffroy. Leah Faith Giolongo. Jada Elizabeth Gillis. Gina Alyssa Gillis. Daniel Robert Gathuka. Kylie Joanne Green. Lucas Kevin Green. Michael Xavier Green. Isabella Flores Hale. Samantha Rose Harding. Sokunmary Hang. Ronald Miguel Henney. Amari Joshua Hernandez. Emma Henna Hosine. Emily Gina Marie Housley. Maggie Grace Hudzik. Raindin Shen Hoy. Lila Rose Isabel. Kevin Andrew Jacobson. Collins Kamani Kamande. Charles Ryan Keating. Orja Kara. Raiden Pomvea Kong. Victoria Siausi Lamb. Kara Ray Lauren. Fiona Lay. Cameron David Leahy. Katie Elizabeth LeMagerie. Joseph Paul LaRue. Emily Grace Lee. Dion Sopiat Long. Matthew Joseph Lewis. Anu Lum. Patrick Ryan Mahoney. Ryusuban Som Mam. Charles Alexander Mariganis. Joseph Miles Martin. Grace Mombi Bogwa. Zachary Aiden Santiago McAllister. Benjamin Scott McDonald. Charlotte Alice McIntosh. Connor James McMorrow. Karma Iman Atia Melik. Adriana Ohanyan Mello. Peter Russell Mercier. Robert Emil Michaud III. Vincent Michael Milanazzo. Autumn Derek Mock. Norethia Mom. Christopher James Moran. Aiden Carey Morse. Nathan Elijah Malungi. Jaden Mungai. Connor James Murphy. Stephanie Elaine Murphy. Yvonne Mathoni Mwangi. Miranda Gisela Naranjo. Khan Nguyen. Jamal Abdel Jakam. Ryan Dongo Juya. Joshua Robert Oakes. Garrett Danny O'Byrne. Jordan Thomas O'Byrne. Kaylee Marie O'Halloran. Malachi Matthew O'Reilly. Haley Rose O'Toole. Sarah Grace Willette. Avery Shea Owens. Chison Darrell Pan. Evan Rourke Pappas. Kushi Anansadan Patel. Jacob Robert Pater. Henry Peralta. Jonalyn Cipriano Panetta. Amanda Sanbawanyabit Prak. Mala Natiang Preem. Tamaya Natea Preep. Taisha Prince. Evan William Kiano. Juan Angel Adam Reyes. Ash Chandler Richardson. Drew Thomas Richardson. Tawny Patricia Robertson. Courtney Marie Robichaud. Orlando Jose Rodriguez. Amaya Rosemarie Rogers. Nathan Edward Rogers. Mia Jacqueline Romano. Suprina Ravani Ross. Juliana Marie Rossetti. Morgan Marie Rule. Jaden Enrique Sanchez. Alan Jeffrey Santee. Jeffrey Michael Santos. Brandon Mitchell Sartori. Britton Hunt Scott. Christian Rodriguez Serrano. Lily Ann Soriano. Tristan Poriam Sue. Seda Anna Sun. Aiden Robert Tangway. Anthony Robert Tassoni. Nigel Michael Tendo. Samantha Lauren Tenorello. Spencer Robert Tenorello. Aiden Michael Thompson. Tatiana Marie Torres. Justin Patrick Toll. Robert On Trong. Colin Anthony Underwood. Jocelyn Davia Vega. Sarah Elisa Velez. Madison Jade Viviani. Hannah Allison Volpe. Alexandria Caitlin Watt. Erin Rose Williams.
When are we gonna start like taking it all down? When are we gonna start like taking it all down? What?
That's fine, that's fine. We're entering the end of the line now. This is the end of the line.
Yeah, me too. Attention, class of 2024. Listen up, listen up. As my last official act, I ask you to please rise. You may now move your tassels from right to left to signify your status as high school graduates. It was my pleasure being your class president. Thank you all.
Anybody want to leave? This is the time. I think it's